This is Gary Atensi with CNTV, and today we're in Castle Rock, Colorado. I'm here to discuss how to divorce-proof your marriage. For over 25 years, her positive approach in helping people find life choices has been very successful. I am here with Waverly J. Hansen. Thanks so much for joining us here today. I mean, this really has been quite a journey for you. Something, obviously, helping people has been important to you. You have your master's degree in counseling. You yourself, you experienced a long-term happy marriage as well. Basically, this is something that is near and dear to your heart. Share with me a little bit how it is you got involved doing this type of industry.
I think the whole thing is because I always have cared about people and looking into what is going on that is interfering with them having the life they could have, being able to use the gifts and talents that they maybe don't notice in themselves. And I've always enjoyed helping people find their path.
Excellent. Let me ask you this. As we all start the beginning of our marriage path, I mean, at the beginning, I believe most people would say it's pretty easy to connect. It's fun. It's enjoyable. But after it goes on for a little while, soon or not, you start maybe missing something. Maybe there's a need to reconnect. Is this really where you come along and are able to help folks?
Yes, I've really been surprised how many people are taken back when that happens to their marriage. And I find that many of them don't understand about stages or seasons of marriage, and that it's very, very normal to be infatuated with each other at first. And in that euphoric stage, which we all love, we don't see any faults in each other. And so that's a fun stage, but it is a stage. It can't last forever.
And it doesn't last forever. As we go along down our path, basically, that need to reconnect, what does connecting mean to you, and is it something that should take place daily?
I think it should take place daily. Most of the couples that sit on my couch here tell me, when I ask them how long it's been since they've had fun together, the majority of time they look at each other and they have to think about that. Many times it's been a year or more.
Wow. You feel that people can change for the better, but they have to be able to see that maybe there's a problem that does exist, and they have to also be able to see that there will be a benefit. Is this what you found?
Yes, people come because they know they have a problem, but they often don't know if there's a solution. And so my job the first session that I'm getting acquainted with them is to help them believe that it can happen for them. And because they're feeling so bad, so many times I have to say, I can believe for you because I've seen it happen hundreds of times now.
Interesting. I mean, I know for myself, when problems are present, challenges are present, and if it begins a daily situation or a weekly situation, we don't reach out for help. We really instead become more overwhelmed. I imagine the folks that you actually deal with, they almost to the point where they're almost hopeless. It's like, you know what, I'm ready to throw in the towel. I believe this is done.
Usually one of the people that is coming is kind of dragged there by the other one. Usually one person has given up and isn't very hopeful that anything can change. One of the research things that I like to tell them about is that there was a study done on couples that thought they needed a divorce and then decided, let's try to work it out. They surveyed them 5 years later. They had somehow managed to stay together, and almost 80% of them reported being very happy in their marriage. And they really were so glad that they tried, and they were feeling so much happier. Some stages of life are just hard.
Interesting. I mean, you're basically known, your methods are known as being nurturing, being gently challenging, basically making people come out of their shells a little bit and understand who it is they are. This is something that you're able to relate with them very well. Is that where a connection between you and them actually exists?
I think so. I think people can tell that I'm genuinely caring about them. I'm not just, this is way more than a job to me. It is really a passion and a mission to save marriages, and because I've seen it happen so much, I just want it for everyone. And I always ask people, are you willing to do some things differently than you've been doing? Because, you know, if you're not, then there isn't a whole lot of hope because you keep doing the same thing, you keep getting the same pain. I say a lot of people do not want a divorce. They just want the pain to stop, and they don't have any idea how to make it stop, so they run for divorce because that seems like their only solution.
Let me ask you, I mean, as a licensed counselor, a relationship coach, you're licensed in military relationships as well, even in training, education. You are really able to pull from quite a few different methods, I would imagine. You have quite a toolbox that you're able to help people with. Does that make it enjoyable for you?
It's very enjoyable for me. I picture that all of us go through life with a little toolbox. And by the time people come to me, they've been using every tool that's in their toolbox. None of them are working anymore. So my goal is when people come for their first session, that they'll leave with at least one or two tools that they can immediately start to use. And then when they end, that they will have a whole toolbox more of things that they can use that really help them to reconnect.
Nice. Let me ask you, couples out there that are going through some challenges. It's almost easy for people to see the positives of divorce, look across the fence and realize what this new fantasy life would be like. Yet at the same time, we don't really realize the negative effects that divorce can bring. Is that what you find?
Very much so. Unfortunately, because people are grasping at straws and wanting to believe life can be better, they are fantasizing a lot about what life will be like in this new, wonderful life. Most of the time they haven't faced the realities of how they're both going to be much poorer, and their children are probably going to want them to be back together, and so they will cause all kinds of problems and also really work hard to get mom and dad back together. So I see a lot of children also, and most of those children will tell me why they believe their parents are getting a divorce has something to do with something they did.
Absolutely, and that's many times those facts are very apparent, but people can't see that because you're going through so much of it there. Really, the danger is not in considering divorce. I mean, a lot of people feel, oh, I'm considering divorce, I should just throw in the towel. The danger is, like you said, in executing that divorce, because people that have stuck it out, found help. That statistic you gave is amazing. 80% or find out that they're actually happier than they were before. That has to be hopeful for people out there.
It is very hopeful. In fact, I had a man yesterday say, I'm hanging on to that. Right now he's struggling, and I've only seen them twice, and he's wanting to believe and still struggling, and so he said, I'm hanging on to that stat, and I'm believing that if we do things differently, that it can be different. And this first week since they've been here, they came back so much more hopeful. So it was really fun to watch relatively quickly people start to sit closer on the couch, start acting like maybe they kind of like each other again instead of being so angry.
That's exciting. I would love to see that transform right before my eyes. Basically, like you say, people don't, I mean, it's nobody's desire to get a divorce. We don't start out and say, I'd like to get a divorce. But like you said, we want the pain to stop. And so therefore we're kind of pushed back into a corner where we feel we don't have any other alternatives or any other options. Is this what you provide for people? Some options that are basically able to build that marriage again?
Yes, and I always tell people marriage problems are not just marriage problems. Marriage problems also involve each of your own individual needs, your own individual things. And so I try to work with them on both of them at the same time. So sometimes we divide up the session, work with each of them a bit, and then come back together and work together. So it just depends on how serious the problem is and what's contributed to it that sometimes they don't see, and then I see, and I know that if I talk to them together, sometimes it just makes it worse. So I help them work on their own individual stuff without the other person necessarily being involved in that piece.
Well, let's talk a little bit about the solution that you've put together. We're talking about a marriage roadmap. It is a 12-week live basic training here that you go through, but yet it's something that takes place right in the comfort and privacy of your own home. Tell me how it works exactly.
Okay. I found that I just was not able to see everyone that calls anymore, and that's a nice problem business-wise, but frustrating when I have to say no to people. So this is a way for me to help more people with the energy and the time I have. And because it's a small group, it's just 6 couples, we do online, either Skype or phone, whichever they prefer. And it really has worked out very well that people don't feel as threatened. I think when they're in their own home, it's not as hard to keep appointments because most of the time both of them are working. And when they get home, they really want to stay home. They really don't want to have to go out in the evening to do something. And so it's just kind of amazing to me how it can work that way instead of in person. Yeah, so I do both right now.
I mean, that is neat because you're actually making it easy for people to find help, affordable way for them to find help. You go through these, every week you're going through what they call modules. These are where you're basically assessing where you're at, finding out what your strengths are, what your weaknesses are, asking the hard questions like, Am I fun to live with? I mean, those are things that we don't really do before we get married. We don't ask those questions.
Right. I really like that one. Am I fun to live with? Because it helps us look at our own stuff. It's so easy during when we're having conflict in a relationship to do a lot of blaming. And, think if it wasn't for my partner doing whatever they do, we'd be fine. It's really necessary for each person to look at their own piece and to own their own piece. Like, okay, I'm not perfect either, so why am I asking for perfection from this other person? So a lot of the tools we use are about understanding each other, learning to understand, not necessarily agreeing, but understand why that person may feel that way and not be okay with, we're 2 different people, of course. We have very different opinions. So if one person says, oh, we don't fight, we always agree on everything, I know one of them isn't being real.
I mean, like you say, it's very beneficial to know not only what your values are, but what your spouse's values are, how they're hardwired, how we're hardwired, how do we get here to begin with, how we have these beliefs that we have. And then once you understand a lot of those things, you almost become your own professional. They can almost start seeing the warning signs and taking care of them before they become big, I would imagine.
Yes, yes. And when I first started this course, my intention was to just keep it a webinar video course. But as I went on, I saw the need for publishing a book too. So if people don't want to join the 12-week program, they can join the 12-chapter program. And this book just came out that helps people be able to actually just read about it, do some of those things on their own.
I mean, what I like about it, you've got the hard copy here. You've got basically online. It's going to be some work. I mean, we're talking about assignments, making sure you're accountable, but yet it's work that has a reward at the end, which has to really excite people, knowing that you're actually getting somewhere.
Yes, it's very enjoyable watching that. I don't want to present it as easy in the sense that it doesn't take any effort. It's easy in the sense of it's something anyone can do, but it does take an effort. We can't just drift along and do what we do automatically. We have to really think about it. Okay, is what I'm going to say right now bring us closer together, or is it going to push us apart? And just be more mindful.
This is a method, basically a marriage assessment and relationship map that has worked for 3 million people worldwide. Is it exciting to bring that kind of training and technology into people's lives?
It's very exciting. It keeps me going when I get really tired, just watching that happen. Of course, it's heartbreaking when it doesn't, but most of the time, if people will stick with it, the majority by far are successful.
Great. Viewers, take a look at the bottom of the screen right there. First of all, what you're going to see is her website. On the website, you'll be able to take a look at all the different areas that she is very well trained in. We're touching heavily on the marriage today, but quite honestly, any parts of your life out there when it comes to families, children. She has been trained, educated, certified, military families, everything across the board. She's been helping folks for over 25 years. Take a look also. You can download her ebook. They've got an ebook out there that you can download, and she also has the hard copy book now that you can get online as well. Go to the website, and you can see where you can take care of that. She's got a calendar online, quite a few tabs, quite a few things to learn right there on the website. We're talking about a blog where you can get some great tips that will help you on your journey out there. And once again, it's a free consultation. If you're not sure this is for you, she can basically talk to you and find out where it is you are and see if it's something that she can help with. You yourself, you have, you've gone through your own losses in your life that really started you on this journey. Losses continue throughout our life. Is this almost an honor to be included in people's inner circle, and it ends up being real rewarding for you?
I consider it an honor when people trust me with helping them in their lives. And it is a joy, an honor and a joy when you see people make positive changes for the better. And of course, it's heartbreaking when it doesn't happen, but that's the risk I have to take. I think probably if you look on my website, you'll see that I am in my second marriage. We were both married over 50 years, both lost our mates, and now we've been married 4 years. So I've found love 2 times, so it's pretty special.
You're a product of your own learning and teaching. How wonderful. Last time viewers take a look at the bottom of the screen, there's the website, there's the contact information. All it takes now is for basically you to step out and understand that it's not a hopeless case. Understand that you too can be part of that 80% that basically ends up much happier than you ever imagined you could be. And like she says, it's anything short but basically of miraculous. Some great changes that you'll be happy to see. That is Waverly J. Hansen, helping people find life choices. This is Gary Atensa with CNTV. And if you don't know, now you know.